I'ma be real, man. This is really sad for the Vancouver Canucks. And it's not sad because of anything that they decided to do, but it's sad because of one of the players involved. Let's go over some Canucks news, updates, and rumors from around the block. Talking about some various topics here. We've got some conversations on the center core, we have some questions that need to be answered, and we also have the idea as to whether or not Adam Foote could be on his way out. Spoiler alert, he might not be. And it's not because he is the best option available. But let's dive into some of the latest on Vancouver Canucks players, because earlier this morning, there was a conversation on Filip Chytil that made the rounds on social media due to the fact that Chytil actually skated today. Albeit he was sporting a full bubble cage, but he was on the ice for Canucks morning skate. This prompted a conversation or two as to whether or not Filip Chytil was actually an option for this hockey team, and whether or not it would make sense for him to actually play at some point. For what it's worth, this is what head coach Adam Foote said on if Chytil skating means he has a chance to play before the end of the season. I'm sure he wants to. Our trainer staff, though, they're probably pushing for him not, to be honest. We'll see what happens. And this is one of these situations where it's like, man, how unfortunate can you get as a National Hockey League player? This is one of the most unfortunate stories in Canucks history when you consider the circumstances in which Chytil was acquired by the team, the kind of hesitation, I would say, from fans to fully openly accept him as the main guy coming back in the JT Miller trade. Not because Chytil's talent was ever put in question. We understand that in New York, with the Lafreniere and the Kakko line that he had, he was actually pretty good. But with the injuries, that was always the biggest thing. This guy can't stay healthy. This guy can't keep his head up. This guy can't protect himself. He had these issues for so many years with the Rangers, and there was a big reluctance from Canucks fans to think about this guy as being able to fit in as a top six center replacement for JT Miller long term because of those injuries. And inevitably, they struck twice, 3 times even, with the Vancouver Canucks. A guy whom you could say his career was already on the rails because of the injuries he had sustained with the Rangers, now coming over to Vancouver and getting injured 3 times to a pretty significant capacity in the span of less than a year. It's very difficult to internalize just how tough that might be on one's mental psyche and his drive, desire to be able to become that player that he wants to be, or the player that he knows he can be, if he just stuck around in the lineup. Chytil is fast, Chytil is skilled, Chytil is decently young. I mean, he's not like 30, he's 26, so there's a pretty reasonable profile here for a guy that can be an NHL player long term. But at this point, it's like, yeah, no, even if he might want to come back, even though every interview we have seen with Chytil expresses a very strong desire to make a return and to become that guy on the ice, the fact that Adam Foote's going out there and saying, yeah, I'm pretty sure the trainers don't want him to play, that's pretty big, eh? There are conversations that have popped up as well about buyouts, whether or not that's actually a thing that you could see the Canucks doing, and I don't know, the contract goes on till next year. He's making $4.4 million. It's not like he's expensive, Filip Chytil, but you could definitely say that the contract existing gives him the opportunity to potentially put himself in a dangerous situation by playing again. That's not to say that it's impossible, but I'm not buying it. It doesn't feel like this guy has the capacity to be able to play 82 games in an NHL season without getting hurt. It doesn't feel like that. And so, thinking about the long term, I mean, next season, ideally, if everybody's healthy, you have Rossi, Pettersson, Chytil. Okay, that's actually pretty good. You might be holding Chytil back from being a top 6 center like he and the Canucks management thought he would be able to be once he was acquired for JT Miller, but then again, Marco Rossi's in the picture, and he's looking pretty good. He's still got Braden Coots as well, chilling in the dub. There are a number of guys that could take over Filip Chytil's spot in the lineup long term. And I do think that Marco Rossi is going to be able to handle bigger minutes and more dangerous center matchups, playing off against top guys. Rossi drives the play so well, and I know that this could be seen as a flash-in-the-pan type of moment for him in this part of the year. Thomas Drance even, he had an article earlier this morning asking whether or not Marco Rossi could handle top-line center duties, and I ultimately think that he can. He was good in Minnesota as a top-line center. He was always supposed to have that type of a ceiling. He just didn't go higher in the draft, and people didn't believe in it because he's small. But Marco Rossi has defied expectations and just scored points everywhere he has been, so I'm actually pretty confident that he's going to be able to take over top-line center duties over a guy like Elias Pettersson. Filip Chytil, though, I don't really think he's in the conversation anymore. And I don't think he should be. I don't think it's good for him. I don't think it's good for his brain. Oh, look at me. I'm a guy in my bedroom making videos on YouTube about hockey, telling what an NHL player should do or shouldn't do. But I don't know if that's an unfair opinion. I don't know. It's just an opinion. You can go out there in the comment section and let me know your thoughts as well. But with opinions in mind, we have ourselves some other opinions in regards to Canucks coaching and what Adam Foote's future is with the team. Take a look at what Donnie and Dolly had a conversation about earlier this morning. They spoke about the Canucks head coaching job, whether or not Manny Malhotra or Adam Foote would be the Canucks head coach next season. Now, the majority of folks go out there and say it's Malhotra, but I don't actually know if that's going to happen, especially since Dolly's scoop ponders about the idea of Malhotra and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Big shout out over to Canucks News Summaries, who summarized what's going on over there. Manny Malhotra will get coaching interest. It's really hard to say if the Maple Leafs would have interest in him. The Canucks will either fire Adam Foote because he's not a good coach, or the interest in Malhotra is so high that they don't want to lose him. And the Canucks also got some interest in Malhotra last season too. In regards to Adam Foote, this is a pretty intriguing update too. He has 2 years left on his contract. So we already know Aquilini does not want to pay guys to not work for him. That's essentially what will be happening if Adam Foote were to be fired and thrown off to the side of the road while somebody else gets hired. You got 2 guys on the payroll. He was also hired to keep Quinn Hughes. So now that Hughes is gone, it's like, well, what's the catch here? Why are we keeping this guy? And then another team said to Dolly that no coach is going to Vancouver to try and fix that. The question as to whether or not Adam Foote is a bad coach because the Canucks can't win, or if the Canucks can't win because Adam Foote is a bad coach, I don't even know if that's realistically a thing that we can talk about anymore. I think we can fully look at the Canucks roster and the talent that is there, and the lack of really conceivable top-end skill, and say that, yeah, Vancouver was doomed either way, no matter who was going to coach this team. With JT Miller gone and the vibes kind of down in the dumps, with guys getting traded, Myers, Sherwood, Garland, all gone, with this youth movement coming in, there was never going to be a world where the Canucks in 25-26 were actually good. But Adam Foote is the guy to take the blame for that because he's the head coach, and quite frankly, he's not a good one. I'm not going to say that he's amazing, but I think the argument exists both ways. So, whether or not Adam Foote sticks around because he just has term on the deal, or because the Canucks just can't really afford, not that they can't, but the owner doesn't want to try and afford multiple coaches on the payroll, that's a separate issue. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about these Canucks notes, the update on Filip Chytil, the sad update that is his career, and what Adam Foote's future looks like as a head coach in this league? Do you think Manny Malhotra could come taking his job soon? The Canucks play off against the LA Kings later today. Tune in as we go out there and talk about what happens after that game. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.